Hello, everybody, and welcome to Make It Monday, where we're going to be talking about my version of how to do machine applique. That's easy. So, welcome. I'm Jim with Amy Sews, and I thought I'd share with you a technique that I did years ago on how to do reversible applique. So, both the front and the back look equally as nice, and it doesn't require any fancy setup, and it goes really quick. And one of the main things is it matches simply on both sides. And I'm going to go take you back to the overhead to show you. Here's one side and you got the other, and it's a perfect lineup. So to begin with, fabric choices. I'm using a cotton fabric, and this is one that is good on both sides, so the color's woven all the way through. It's not just printed on one side. So it's a solid blue. And I got a similar weight of white fabric that I went and already bonded on my fusible web. In this case, I went and basically took a sheet of fabric, put my steam seam 2 on the back, went to my brother's scan and cut out a lot of stars. So this way they're all exactly the same size. It's kind of important too. So once I'm ready to work with this, after you peel off the paper backing, as you know, you can just kind of hold it in place and give it a little tap before I go ahead to the iron so I can bond it. Because if I know this is exactly where I want my applique to be, I'll go ahead and fuse it on. So I do have one already that I fused right here. So this has been bonded on and it's not going anywhere. So now that I have that done, I need to go and set up my machine so I can do the piece on the back. And basically what I'll do is I will put in the thread that I want to actually do the edge finishing with. I'm just going to do a basic satin stitch. So I thought I'd use my machine embroidery thread. And I'm going to put that in the needle and the bobbin. So the bobbin is going to be wound with the same embroidery thread, same color, same finish that's working in my needle. Usually we use bobbin weight thread. In this case, since it's reversible, I want the back side to look good. So I'm going to put the same thread in my bobbin as in my needle. And to make sewing a little easier, I'm going to use a regular straight stitch foot. And this one has a clear insert in it so I can actually easily see where I'm driving. So I have that on my machine. And what I will do is I'm going to set my machine to do a straight stitch. And I'm going to start in the middle, and I'm just going to come to here and pivot in the fabric, and then just keep sewing straight down along with a straight stitch right in the very edge of my white applique piece. And when I'm done with that, you can see I have a little bit off to the side so you can show you that it's actually there, because when you flip to the back side, there I have my straight stitch. So again, I have it right up here. And you can barely see it on the edge of my fabric there. And that allows me to transfer the pattern to the back side. I can then take one of my little stars that I did, peel off the paper backing, and I can line it up. And by having my scan and cut it out for me, I know that every star is going to be exact. And I can just press it in place and then carefully go to the ironing board or the heat press, whatever I'm using, and I can go ahead and press it in place. And now I have a star on both sides in the exact same position. Then I'll go to my machine and I'm ready to go. And once it's fused, like this one is, I'm going to go ahead and satin stitch along the raw edges. And in this case, I'm going to use, I could use a clear foot like this, and this is your applique foot. Just to review on the backs of them, your regular presser foot, when you flip it over, it has a solid back. You see that? It's solid, nice flat back, which will give really good pressure to produce a really good straight stitch. Your applique foot or decorative stitch foot has a little recession in the middle, so it'll glide over all the stitches and the machine won't jam up for you. So you need that when you're doing any kind of buildup of decorative stitch work. So that's like a must-have for that. To make it really simple, same version with an open toe foot. So you may want to go for this one because it'll really ease up on your visibility so that when you put it on, and what I did with mine is I'm starting mine in the right hand needle position to go along. So I'm going to always make sure that the needle falls into the blue fabric, and then the left swing will go into the white fabric. I went and selected a taper satin stitch on my machine with a couple of alterations for that. So what you may want to do is have a scrap of similar fabric that you can do a little bit of test sew out to get it the way you like it to look, because quite often when you're doing it, you may not, you may find you have to make a couple little tweaks like I did with this one. But when I went through it, when you normally go do a satin stitch, the stitching on the top is going to have a relaxed tension, meaning that it's going to pull the threads to the back side. And that's a traditional applique, and that's what you want in embroidery. But in this case, I wanted it to be balanced. So when I flipped it to the back side, I wanted the back side to look almost as good as the front, which meant the needle tension was increased. So instead of it being on mine, I think it came at 2.4, I went up to 3.2. So went up a lot so that the stitches are actually meeting within the blue fabric. And then the stitch length, I did shorten it just a little bit because I was using a finer weight thread. So I went down about a half a step and then had the width I wanted. And satin stitched all the way down again, pivoting in the corners, coming around, and of course, using the auto taper stitch. And since I'm using 2 layers of fabric with fusible web on the back, it makes it a little thicker in this applique area. And by doing that, I didn't use any stabilizer. And you notice here on the end where I just sewed it right with the plain fabric and no stabilizer, it's a little puckered and it's not as full of a width as it is when it's on the applique area. So this was done without the use of a stabilizer on the back side. So whenever I did my final stitching and I took it out, it actually sped it up because I didn't have any cleanup. The back was as good as the front. So again, I just used the basic stitch. I actually was using a Janome M17, and I used the taper satin so that it would start out at a point and then go to the width with the right side right along here. So that way it would feather out to the left and give me a nice angle, which was perfect for what I was doing. And of course, mitered in the corner. And then coming back out again to the edge and then starting my taper again. And just went around that way. And it produced a really nice clean finish to my front and my back because I used the same thread in the needle and the bobbin and just increased the needle tension and adjusted the width as I liked to get me the kind of stitch I would like to look on my finished project. And this way I can easily go ahead and do a reversible applique with 1 line of satin stitching after 1 line of base stitching. The nice thing too about doing this little row of base stitching first, it actually helps to secure the fabric. And since a lot of times you are satin stitching over like the bias, doesn't stretch. So it'll actually add as understitching for you on top of all the fusible web that's there. So makes your sewing a little quicker, a little easier, a little more professional looking. So you may want to give that a try, a little different take on applique. So hope you found that useful, and always be sure to go and tell your friends about it and share your love of sewing with them too. So on behalf of Amy Sews, I'm Jim, and thanks for watching, because remember, the more you know, the more you sew. Take care.